Hello, you are listening to Between Sets. This is Fuzz. Mike, I don't think you even caught that.
I'm back to it. I mean, I've somebody mentioned over the week, literally yesterday, in fact, that they were like, oh, how did they come about? They quite enjoy it. So
I think, yeah, you've been watching way too much Finding Nemo, mate. Mark. Yeah, apologies to the listeners for this is a bit of a delayed episode. Just a fucking manic week, isn't it? We were meant to be recording Thursday evening because you've got evening friends Friday, didn't you? How did that go?
Yeah, happens very rarely, but yeah, it was fine. I was playing host, if you like.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward, just having a catch up, really, but nothing stereotypically. It's one of these things like it has to happen on some evening, and more often than not, it's going to be a Friday. You know,
this is it. We don't have any social life. That's why we have it on a Friday evening, don't we? But yeah, it was a bit of a crazy week. We're meant to be doing it Thursday evening. It sounds very snobby, but I had a car meant to be delivered at some point Thursday, to replace my old company car, and that didn't end up getting delivered until 7:00. And she fucking wanted a lift all the way to Sheerness to pick up an next car, and I'm like, "Are you taking the piss?" But I felt bad
when you said that. I was like, I just don't really understand how that is your responsibility to do. Like,
no, I did complain.
You have a life.
Yeah. It's like, what a kid. Like, I'm missing my kid's bedtime now. I'm missing this podcast. Like, come on. And obviously, it was meant to be delivered about 3:00 in the afternoon. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to be a snob
but
about it.
Realistically, if you say no, sorry, I've got stuff to do. What happens?
Then I wouldn't have slept that night. I'd have been like, is she still out there somewhere?
What, with a knife or like just inside your house, just staring, waiting?
Maybe. I believe in karma. And
some of the things you were saying, like there were no trains running. I mean, there's not really a train station near us, but there is. It's walking distance very comfortably, I would say. And then this person couldn't get a taxi either.
If it was like a guy,
it's absolute bullshit.
Then I would have been like, sort it out. But she was like kind of an old woman, and I'm like, I can't let this happen. And I do believe in karma. I was like, something's good going to come up from this. And then I woke up Friday morning with just the worst illness ever, the worst migraine. I could barely swallow anything.
Karma. Oh, hello.
I think it was just burnout. Like, hello.
I try moving locations every now and again, but so that's the other one.
You're 2 minutes in, Mike. Put your pussy away. For the listeners, there's a cat on screen. So I'm not sure if I have to really explain that myself anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, work. I think it's just burnout. Work has been crazy. What's funny, obviously, I'm still learning the ropes. Really, like, I'm trying to adapt to this whole self-employment side of it, and I'm just trying to go with it, like full steam ahead. But because every day is so different, and it's just so varied, my mind's just having to adjust constantly. So, like, for instance, was it Tuesday that week? It was, wasn't it? So Tuesday morning, I was meant to meet you at the gym for a group assessment for my personal training course. My car broke down, so that was stressful. And then you had to pick me up. We had to quickly rush this assessment. I got back. Actually, we did a little workout with Sean the chef from the previous episode. That was quite nice. I finally get to meet that guy. Decent bloke. Get home, and then I'm like, obviously, and then I'm work mode. So I'm editing videos, and then I'm building a website for a village hall, and then I'm creating like graphic content for a donut shop, like all in one day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just my mind's constantly adjusting to this. But I'll get there.
The biggest thing that I found when going self-employed is scheduling. Jesus, cat. So you really have to be quite definite in terms of setting your boundaries in terms of your working hours, number one. So you're not because it's very easy to just work constantly. So like this morning, as much as I say I'm scheduling, normally my Sunday is my day off, but I've got some projects I'm planning coming up. So I've done some programming in the background, some planning for that, setting some stuff up, kind of ready for next week, essentially. So stuff like that will happen, and it's inevitable. But for the most part, if you can schedule your work hours, so for me, for example, I'm kind of self-employed doing two separate things at the moment, where it's the personal training and the sports massage. I'm having to turn people away for personal training because they want to train in the evening. But for me, that's not efficient because the gym is incredibly busy. You can't get on what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's not as valuable for them. So personal training for me is 6 a.m. through till midday, and then sports massages afternoons after that. Hopefully, I get to eat somewhere in that. And I think it's a similar thing for yourself. Obviously, you've got projects, but I think you need to kind of schedule and allocate certain time
Yeah, I think
frames
it's.
for certain things.
I'm telling myself it's just because I'm still in this period where I'm trying to build a brand, build a business, and I'm just putting everything I can into it. So then people know who Fuzzy Logic is, what they're about. The standards are extremely high. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware of that.
Yeah, I
but
get
then
that.
I
And
think,
to be fair,
yeah,
you're doing the right thing. Absolutely. I suppose I'm coming from a place of having kind of established
you're
that a
quite
little bit.
content now, aren't
But
you, with it?
definitely when I was starting out, personal training, especially at working in a gym 40 hours a week, plus personal training on top of that, plus then programming and that kind of thing, you have to get efficient with stuff. And that will come with time. You're going to have like a month or 2, 3 months where it's just going to be full
Yeah,
on.
that's what I told myself. I said I'd give myself till May, and if I'm still like this, and I've got to sort my life out, basically. But we did a bit of filming, didn't we, on Wednesday? That was quite funny. It was really weird filming you rub up another guy. It was
Why?
it was an experience in itself. That was. I was just like, what am I filming this for?
What is this? What's going on here? I'm not sure if it's weirder for you or the guy being filmed, to be honest.
Stuart was a proper. He just took it like a man. It's like I think he's
he
done
was...
it before. I think he's been in the adult industry. I reckon.
Quite possibly.
He was quite comfortable.
Interesting. Do you know what? I said to you at the time, as much as we do this podcast, I kind of forget about the camera to an extent. Despite the fact I can see myself here and I've got a microphone in front of me, it kind of disappears. Like it becomes kind of a conversation. The second someone gets a camera and puts it in my face, I just go, don't like it. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
But the more you do it, the more you're used to it. Yeah. Well, what helps is what I find helps is just like a loose script. If the script's too strict, like the first video I did for myself, like a few months ago, it comes across so stiff. And we're not going back to the we're not going back to the outdoor industry now. I'm on about that. If you're just in an odd vlog, you just got to let it loose a little bit. You can't just bullet point it. Well, I want to make sure I mention these things. A bit like what I do with the podcast. To be fair, I just have a few bullet points. Pancake Day, Valentine's Day. This is my list now of shit to talk about.
Interesting. Yeah.
Talking of which, are do you do a Pancake Day?
I'm not fussed if we do or don't. This year around, we are actually around some people's houses on Tuesday evening, sort of looking after nephews and stuff. So we're dropping them back off, but then we're going to have some pancakes there. But on a regular year, if you want to call it that, I wouldn't be fussed. What about you?
I guess like we've only really properly done it since having a kid, because obviously it's a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun to add to the year.
Are you good at making pancakes though?
Oh yeah, I'm a good tosser, me.
Fair enough. And
but obviously they're glutenified, so I don't really eat them.
Okay. And are you going for like the traditional crepes, or are you going like American style pancakes?
Crepes, yeah. Like American style, there's a lot to go wrong with.
100%, but they are better, and I will say that. Like, I'll go in there and say American style pancakes are just.
You can't beat IHOP. Have you ever had an IHOP pancake?
I haven't,
mate. An IHOP pancake is the best pancakes you'll ever eat, ever. And they're worth traveling to America. I think there could be one in the UK now. I'm not entirely sure.
Really? Well, it is International House of Pancakes, correct? So if they're only in America, they're really mis-selling themselves.
Yeah, but they are good. Yeah. Like you'll get like a stack of 8 of them, and then you'll be stuffed.
I can deal with that.
What's your go-to topping?
That's exactly what I was going. Yeah, I was going.
Oh, sorry, mate.
It's chocolate. It's all the way chocolate. I mean, either Nutella, chocolate spread. Just it needs to be sweet. I'm not putting fruit on pancakes. That's not happening.
For a crepe, it's not too bad though, is it?
Well, if you're gonna have fruit, have fruit. If you're gonna have pancakes, do it right. Have some Sweet shit.
Just eat some shit. My go-to, like, it has to be maple syrup. I'll only eat a pancake if it's covered in maple syrup and maybe a bit of ice cream.
Okay. I've never been a big fan of maple syrup. I find the taste
I
just
don't
a bit
understand.
odd.
A lot of people are like that, but this is so
I mean,
good.
I like syrup in general, I suppose, or sweet things. I've got a bit of a sweet tooth. Advert for personal training there. But maple syrup just tastes a bit odd to me. I can't quite place it. I don't know. I can't even tell you what it is I don't like about it. I don't know. Like,
I think is I've not met someone that likes it.
Really?
No.
Okay. I know. I know quite a few
nice.
people that like it, but yeah.
It's like a runny golden syrup. I find like you like golden syrup.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
you would say that, but it's really sticky. You can't have that with a pancake. That's like it turns into a flapjack.
I once ate a golden syrup sandwich.
Okay.
Let that sink in. Yeah.
Even though that wasn't exactly random, the way that you approached that was just like fact of the day. I once ate a golden syrup sandwich.
I once ate a golden syrup sandwich.
Yep. Talk me through this. How did it happen? Was it by accident? And what the fuck was going through your mind?
I was relatively young. I mean, I'm talking like 8 or 9, and I guess I was just left alone in the kitchen. I'd started making a regular sandwich. So bread, butter. And I think I went to the cupboard to get, I don't know, maybe like jam, something like that. But then I saw this little green tub with a golden
You
line.
thought you'd reinvent fucking Paddington Bear.
Hello, I need this. So I ate that, and then a tooth fell out. So
a tooth fell out. I'm surprised all your teeth didn't fucking fall out.
Yeah, I can just imagine like it's just a sandwich of just like tooth decay, basically.
And now your dad's a dentist.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Origin stories.
Yeah, no, he's more just so like, funny. You break it, I'll fix it. That's his attitude, I suppose.
Are you not really a full-on Christian, are you?
No, I think the exact opposite. No. We can get into this, but I'll upset quite a population of people, I feel like.
No, it's just the fact that like the longer this goes on for, I feel like the religious side of all these holidays, as it were, is being completely forgotten about. Like Pancake Day, obviously, like it's Shrove Tuesday, right? Yeah, and then obviously 47 days from then is Easter, and like it's a massive thing. Like Father Christmas, for instance, all of this is all based on a religion, but no one really. What I'd say is a percentage, like 90%. No, exactly. No, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, some people still go to like midnight mass and stuff like this. Like my family still go to that occasionally. They invite me, and I'm just no.
But for the fun of it, rather than
see, that's interesting. I'm saying why in God's name, but I'm not religious. I couldn't see anything worse. I wouldn't want to go to that. It's boring. It's hell. Again, hell. Oh,
yeah. Oh my god. Anyway,
I need to remove these words.
What was he going to move on to? Yeah, Valentine's Day is Wednesday, isn't it?
It is Wednesday.
Is that something you celebrate?
I mean, we do. We don't do anything crazy or anything like that. We will generally just like buy some nice food. Like we normally do like a steak dinner on Valentine's Day. That's pretty much our go-to.
Yeah, M&S 2 for £20 sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of deal. And I'm on a bit of a sauce kick at the moment with my cooking, so I want to try and make a nice sauce to go along with it as well.
Look at you, Jamie Oliver.
I'm not saying it'll be good, but I'll certainly try. What about you?
We don't normally celebrate Valentine's Day, to be honest with you. We're quite boring, but we are this week. I don't know what we're doing. We're actually going to a spa day. Okay. Where is it? Let me get my calendar out. St. Andrews Lakes. Never been there before.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know roughly where it is.
There's like an outdoor sort of spa experience.
Yeah. Okay. Have you been
midlife
to
crisis? I think it sounds like. So again,
have you been to spa days before?
Yeah. I'm 32. I've experienced a few things.
I don't like to judge. I'll ask the question.
Does it look like I haven't? It's like you need a spa day, mate. That's what I look like.
State of this man. He needs a spa day.
I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to it or not. And now, obviously, I'm just thinking that's just a day wasted. I could be working and getting on with shit.
No, you need well, especially if you're talking about burnout, like you need days that are just dedicated to just doing nothing.
I do enjoy it. I'm so surprised that I've experienced a burnout already, because I am really enjoying this job, this whole sector of my life. But obviously, I'm just overdoing it. So on that Thursday, when we were meant to be doing our podcast, I woke up at 3 a.m. to crack on with work to try and get it all done before my weekend. I know.
No, dude.
I know.
No.
I know. And I didn't finish till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
There's definitely a balance adjustment, I would say. You need to find that line.
Yeah.
But also, like, part of it is when you are not working, being able to come away from it completely, like not be on answering messages and stuff like this, because people will wait. It's fine. Like you were like the video I re-recorded, I was just saying, just leave it. Don't worry about it. It's just chill. There's no rush.
Yeah, no, but I enjoy doing it. That's the thing. I do enjoy it. Yeah. It's just finding the time and trying to. It's now my my weakness right now is trying to be present with my kid, because like all that's going through my head is like not what I need to do, but ideas of what I could be doing. Do you know what I mean? And I've got to just switch off from that and just be like, right, let's just focus on building this train track and watching the train go round. that is with my kid, by the way. I'm not just having a midlife crisis.
I was wondering whether that was an analogy for your business or not, to be honest. But
no. That's all my kid wants to do. It's just build a train track. Yeah, press go on the train, just watch it go round. But whatever suits him, mate.
I mean, I'm no expert, but in terms of parenting, that sounds like relatively straightforward, right?
I can't wait for you to become a parent.
Well,
it's a minute until he picks up that train, throws it across the room, destroys the track, and then starts crying. Like it's just a roller coaster. It's not even a train track. It's a roller coaster at this point.
See, the logical part of my brain goes, "That's your fault. Sit there and cry."
I can't wait.
I guess that's not going to work, is it?
Oh, that'd be so funny.
So, somewhat related to the fitness side of things, we discussed a podcast previously, which is the Diary of a CEO.
Yes, love that.
I'm going to throw a little caveat to that.
Sorry, look at this. Because of the green screen, that is so funny. That is hilarious.
Brilliant.
Anyway, carry on.
We need to trademark that. That can be a thing. Green screen cans, invisible.
This episode is brought to you by Green Screen. So I'm drinking a Monster, and you can't see it. Move on. Move on.
Yeah. So the Diary of a CEO. I forget what the name of the guy is that runs it. And Kevin? You sent me the link to watch that one, and I really enjoyed it. And I think the lady who was on there was, very knowledgeable. She got access to a lot of data. And I happened to see a video, probably in the last week or so, going into some of the guests that this Diary of a CEO guys had on. And I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan.
It's changed a lot. It's evolved in the wrong way, but it's still a good listen. I love his voice. He's got a much smoother voice than mine.
I think some of our audience would disagree with that, to be honest with you. Just saying. But he's providing an audience to people that I don't feel should have an audience. And they're very clearly trying to sell a product or sell their program that's going to save everyone's health and all this sort of thing. And I picked out an example, and it's a fellow by the name of Gary Brecka. Have you heard of him?
No, I'm not great with names, mate.
He spouts a lot of shit. I'm not going to mince my words on that one. He spouts an absolute mountain of shit. And there's a guy that I follow on Instagram, Lane Norton, who regularly calls him out. He's very much research-led. Provides evidence for everything he says, cites research, meta-analysis and stuff like this. And he called out Gary Brecka on a few different things, and there is never any kind of response because Gary, he cannot back up anything that he says, essentially. And you go to his page, and bear in mind, he's on stage with a microphone in the typical American fashion, spouting to his audience, and he's filming it, putting it onto TikTok and YouTube, and he's got quite a large following. And everything he says is wrong. Every single thing. I've
Is
not
he
heard him say
calling
anything
him out
correct.
on it though? Because that's what the host does. He normally calls him out on stuff. No, is he not?
No,
Have you
no.
listened to the
So he
episode?
is. I've not listened to all of it. I've certainly seen clips where he's saying something. He's not challenged, but I don't know if I don't know the dragon guy's name. I can't remember. Stephen something, is it?
I can't remember. I thought it was Kevin, but I'm so bad with names.
Okay. But he's not challenging it. He's just going, oh really, and sort of going along with it. And to be fair, Joe Rogan does a similar thing with some guests who are
Yeah.
talking nonsense as well. So I understand it's a balance between keeping the podcast going and getting these guests on, but he's trying to sell stuff. And it's interesting. You go onto Gary Brecker's Instagram page, and he'll cite all this different stuff. And then when you know the bit we press see more to go into the final bit, then it's got in big capital letters, not medical advice. So why are you giving it?
Yeah.
Because for people who don't know any different, they will assume that that is medical advice, and they'll go along with it. And Lane Norton, he went on to kind of an additional post after that, and it's a bit of it's a bit of a serious topic where there was a person who believes in alternative therapies, alternative medicines. I don't think they should be called medicines. I'm going to say alternative therapies because once a therapy has been shown to actually work, it becomes medicine, right? If it hasn't been proven to work, well, you assume it doesn't work. But this guy had a very treatable early stage cancer. And he didn't believe in chemotherapy, radiotherapy, because he thought it was toxic to your body, which, technically it is, but that's kind of the point. So he went down the route of treating his cancer with alternative therapies. 2 years on, the alternative therapies had failed, the cancer had progressed, and then he decided to go down the route of chemotherapy, but it was no longer treatable, and he died. And I think my point about it is, like, these people are genuinely causing harm, and they have a real platform to be able to spread this nonsense. And it comes back down to the bullshit filter I was talking about before. There needs to be some level of control on social media where if there is someone who is not qualified to talk about X thing, they should not be allowed to talk about it. And
but it's free speech, isn't it? I know what you mean.
Yeah,
like Twitter's quite good at that because it does say like there's a notice on most images or factual statements that say this is not factual, or it even describes the actual fact rather than what the statement is. And that's quite good. But at the same time, I know what you mean. Like it's going to be very hard to filter that out when there's like millions of posts every 100%. Single day.
But I feel like there needs to be some level of vetting going on. I have no idea how you'd even begin to control it. It's such a
I think it's just naturally vetted itself because like you might get a spike of followers because you're saying bullshit and people are believing it, but it doesn't take long for people to start calling bullshit. Like I know you'll still have a follower and it might
it's the confirmation bias. If you go into something, so if I were to go, I use the cancer therapies as an example. If I had a belief in my head that I don't believe traditional medically approved cancer therapies work, and I go scouting the internet, and you're inevitably going to be drawn to people who are supporting your view of the alternative therapies, and then you buy into that further. So that's the confirmation bias, right? But it goes a step further than that as well. So I saw a podcast it was a Joe Rogan podcast actually with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do you know him?
Yeah.
So he's a physicist and astrologist, a very knowledgeable bloke in his field. And I was listening to this podcast and he started talking about genetics. Now, this is a field that I am qualified to talk about. And what he was saying about genetics was fundamentally wrong. So it's not even a case of intelligence or if someone is qualified in X field. No, you need to be specifically qualified in that field to talk about it because what he was saying was wrong. But because he's an intelligent person and qualified in some manner of science, Joe Rogan clearly didn't feel like he could talk to him on that level and discuss or even challenge him on it. So there's real levels to it. And I have no idea how you can begin to police it.
But then people are choosing to listen to these things. People are choosing to take on board. Like if you can Google what you want and you'll get the answer. You'll get the answer that you want. So if you just typed in, for instance, like type it in now, guys, if you can, type in "can pigs fly," and they'll come up with the first post will be "pigs can fly," and I promise you that now. Like you can find anything and everything on the internet, and 99% of it could be wrong because you're just trying to find the answer that what you want. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people will talk bullshit. I don't think that's ever going to stop. It's never going to
It
stop.
has just given me a little idea, actually, though, on a slightly more light-hearted topic. You know, you have these conversations with your mates where you're 100% certain on something, but you're not. You're trying to blag something. We could call it the mates website, where you can basically go in, search for whatever, and it will just come back and say, yeah, this is true.
Just
just to win,
bullshit.
just to win arguments. Yeah, you know.
The thing
Yeah,
is like,
I don't know.
science is constantly evolving itself anyway. Like, there might be one day where actually scientists will go, the Earth is actually flat. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know. You just have to roll with the punches, basically. Like, single
and that's
day.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
You know, so science. What I really love about science is the fact that it can change literally overnight if there is a study that's done and it's proven to be correct, and everything operates on a theory. So the theory of relativity, the theory of like gravity, technically is a theory. We know it's true, but it's the theory that it can always be disproven in the future. If you say that something is fundamentally true,
Yeah,
it adjusts everything if it's then shown not to be. Whereas if you operate on the basis of a working theory, then it has room to adjust. And it's a similar thing to what I'll do with personal training and keeping up to date with sports science and all this kind of stuff, where something I've introduced recently is the stretch mediated hypertrophy. So working in lengthened partials into towards the end of a set. That wasn't something I was doing before, but it's been shown to work. It's been shown to provide faster muscle growth. So it's negligent of me to not do my research. And if I do the research and find this thing, it's negligent of me to not change my training for my clients and myself to not include that.
But at the same time, it's like, why, actually, I'll ask this question. Why are you confident that study you've read is factual?
So it's not just one study. That is the benefit of it. So there have been a kind of a cadre of multiple studies, and it stems from we knew that RDLs work. So Romanian deadlifts, we knew that they work to build muscle in your hamstrings, in your lumbar erectors, but it was on the basis that it's the concentric portion, the picking up of the weight. Whereas actually, there's been recent studies and a meta-analysis of those studies by Menno Henselmans. He's a really good person to follow on Instagram if you don't already. So the meta-analysis of those studies showed that logically, if people hold a weighted stretch, they build the same amount of muscle that they would have done otherwise just moving the weight. Now, that suggests to us that there's more benefit to doing weighted stretching either during or after a set to build muscle. It doesn't mean we're not going to do the lifting portion of a set, because it's just impractical not to. But if we're getting towards the end of a set and we're starting to fail and we can't, let's say we're using a lat pull down, single arm, we can't go through the full range of motion. We're up towards the top anyway. What else have you got? You go through a stretch range, slightly more like partial reps essentially, and that will drive more muscle growth and development. So that's where the confidence comes from. It's not just the one study. It's been found in multiple studies, and the meta-analysis pulls the results of all those studies to say, okay, here's our logical conclusion then.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, but you know what I mean? A lot of people will just take facts as facts because it makes sense in their head. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's up to them. I think internet itself is a massive warning of like, if you're going to be reading this, and it's up to you whether you want to believe it or not.
100%. And I mean, really, utilizing the internet is a skill set in itself, because I mean, I remember when the internet was first becoming a thing in the 90s. That's how old we are. So it's a relatively new skill set essentially, and the rate of information spread and development is only increasing. It's exponential.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The fact that the fact that we're able to have this discussion now and it's going onto the internet for the foreseeable future, it's insane. Realistically, there's such a library of knowledge available. Not that I'm saying this is,
and there's so much bullshit that we say.
Massive library, but yeah.
The thing is, you couldn't convince a strong Christian, and not strong physically, but you know what I mean. You can convince them about evolution. Like, no matter how much facts are in place, you can convince them the whole Charles Darwin theory and all that.
So you say this, but the Pope has actually acknowledged evolution recently. Genuinely, last year.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not saying, but that's not because of you. I'm saying you couldn't.
There was a Ricky Gervais interview with I can't remember the name of the guy, and he was going into um, Christians versus agnostics versus atheists, and the religious person was arguing, no, you're not an atheist, you're agnostic because you don't know. And Ricky Gervais' argument was, well, no, actually, I am an atheist because I know I don't believe in a God. Whereas actually, I'd argue you are agnostic because although you might believe there is a God and Christianity or Muslim or whatever, you don't know. You like to believe that, but you are therefore agnostic. Actually, no, you're either agnostic or you're an atheist, and you subscribe to the belief of X religion and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if I think it would actually be a beneficial thing, generally speaking. So there are Christian schools in America where they don't teach evolution because it flies in the face of Old New Testament or whatever it happens to be. I think there'll be a genuine benefit to trying to incorporate we use evolution as an example, trying to incorporate the idea of evolution and how that would actually fit in with their religion, because then at least children are getting taught, right? That there's a genuine benefit to a compromise there, because I know
this will evolve over time, just like technology in itself. Like what 50 years ago, there were so many Christian or religious schools. But now I think in the UK, I think it's I'm pretty confident. Surely it's against the law now to not include evolution in the studies.
I think so. I know it's not in America. In Southern Belt states in America, a lot of schools don't teach it because it flies against.
But that will change over time. Like it's amazing how we've evolved.
On that topic, what amazes me is technology kind of goes against religion to an extent, right? Because I mean, they're traditionalists, I suppose. They want to progress, but I don't remember the last time you were in a Christian church, but they go around and they ask for offerings like money to the church, which I think is insane anyway, because the church is incredibly wealthy. They are genuinely taking around card readers now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I found this out.
So are street artists, aren't they? It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's progress. I get that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how things have to change.
But people
and adapt over time.
Carry cash on them. Like, I just went to the we got like a art and craft fair, whatever you call it, at the village hall today, and 90% of them are only accepting cash, and I'm like, this is crazy. You're not going to get any customers. And the local cash point is faulty. So it's like, no one's going to buy from you, mate. Good luck.
So we spoke about this, I think it was last week, actually. Always have the option to receive payment, whether that is via an app, via bank transfer, cash, or you have a card reader. That's the number one if you're running a business.
100%. I know these guys are like quite small businesses anyway, but yeah, you have to.
That's even more important because
if you have intent,
based on the number of sales, they have to be able to accept the payment. Otherwise, you're giving someone an excuse to not buy your product.
Exactly. Talking about technology anyway, we move on to. Have you seen what was released last week? If I still had a job, I would have it on my face now. The Apple Vision. Not Chuckle Vision.
I'm so Apple far removed from this. I'm old, man. I'm
so old. Basically, Apple have released. They announced it last year. Actually, I think they announced it before that. But Apple have released their own AR headset. I say AR because it is a VR headset, right? Virtual reality, but it's more AR, and the fact that you can just stick these on, and you can still see everything around you. You can still theoretically drive your vehicle wearing this on your head, and have like little windows pop up. You can either like watch the football or whatever, or you can literally have like 5 monitors in front of you and a keyboard, and it will detect where your fingers are, and you can just start working with no monitor around you. So if you are bored, search for Casey Neistat on YouTube. He's done a virtual reality, so he's done the Apple Vision sort of spin-off review, and he's in the middle of New York. He's got 5 screens in front of him. He's like watching a Mr. Beast video. He's doing some work on his, on his lap sort of thing, and he's surrounded by people. It's just an absolute madhouse. But he's in his own little world, just getting work done. It's an amazing piece of kit. But this is the future. This is literally going to be the future of everything and everything. It's going to be the future of mobile phones. It's going to be the future of laptops and computers. Like, you're not going to see, like, for instance, what we're talking about. We're talking 20, 30 years ago. We had mobile phones without screens on, right? They were just number pads. Move on 10 years, we had phones with no number pads. It was just screens.
Yeah.
And now today, we're looking at no number pads, no screens at all. It's just you, a pair of glasses. That evolution is just really so exciting. Fast right now. It's amazing.
It's unbelievable. I mean, my biggest question about him filming that, how is he filming that video? So, like, I know he's probably got a camera watching him doing whatever he's doing, but how do you see what he's seeing? Like,
so because there's cameras all around his, so not even that. So it is theoretically a screen. So the computer will record what he's looking at, his screen. So it's just like you can record your phone screen.
Yeah.
So it's just recording what he's seeing. So all the apps that he's got open and what he can actually see in front of him.
So this is sort of the evolution of the Google Lens, essentially. Do you remember where it's an augmented reality where you can use it as
there
Google
was the
Maps
intent
and stuff like
behind
this,
that
as a basic version of it. I mean, that's madness.
Yeah, so it's about £3,500 that is at the minute, but don't buy it. I'm telling you now, like, that is going to be the worst Apple Vision product ever. You might as well wait a few years, because this one at the minute, so it only lasts 2 years. 2 years, sorry, ignore me. It only lasts 2 hours on charge, because it's constantly charging out of a battery pack that you have to put in your pocket. There's a big long cable coming from the VR headset, which again you can probably piggyback that off another battery pack if you really wanted to. But we're talking that's going to be very heavy, and it's extremely heavy on your face as well. But in a few years' time, they'll get that thinner and thinner. And before you know it, within 10 years, it will just be us wearing glasses. So you better just wait in 10 years, really.
I saw on a similar kind of note, I saw that. Have you seen that Sony have created a car in unison with Honda?
No, carry on.
It looks ridiculous. Like, probably one of the most high-tech cars. So it is has sensors, so it's fully capable of automated driving. So you don't have to have hands on the wheel or anything like that. It's fully capable of doing that. You've got screens which are basically covering your entire dash. It's got augmented reality on the screen. You can play like PlayStation 5 as it's Sony in the car. You can choose a game on the PlayStation and turn all the lighting inside to that theme, like Spider-Man, for example. Like, it'll come up with logos and all this kind of stuff. The entire thing is just becoming like branded marketing. But you've got video game companies now working with the automotive industry to create these tech-heavy cars. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw something similar.
It surprised me that Apple haven't done a similar thing.
Well, they are. They're working on a car now. They've been working on a car for the last few years. Yeah.
So applying the same logic of the augmented reality headset, like 100% that's going to be included in the car. They'd be dumb not to.
Oh, yeah. This is it. So, I know what you're on about. LG's done something similar. So LG obviously are quite the amount of products they produce. Obviously, you've got TVs, fridges, freezers, washing machines, dryers, even like sound systems, etc. They put all of this into one vehicle. So you've got like a top-of-the-art sort of fridge and freezer built into this car. Sound system, screens everywhere, just like you said, and like the like air conditioning. So I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but you can they do like tech wardrobes. So your wardrobe is constantly cooling or warming up your clothes, so to remove any moisture or so it can even iron it for you. Just hang it up on the dream. Yeah, hang it up in the wardrobe. It'll iron your clothes for you. I think it's like £1,000 for this tiny little wardrobe. Yeah, but, it's amazing though. But if you think about that now, like in 10 years' time, that will be the norm for everyone.
Just standard. Yeah. It is. It's really interesting because I think I think these companies are really going to end up with like really brand loyal customers in the same way that you are with Apple, essentially. But it's going to stem across, into cars, into smart houses, essentially. Like, it's all going to be, because everyone wants everything to be seamless, and if everything is all, well, for lack of a better word, speaking to each other, that makes their life incredibly easy. The interesting part about it is, though, imagine you wanted to start up a tech company. How in God's name would you go about that these days? Because the
But
barrier
yeah,
to
exactly.
entry
No,
is
but
not happening.
no, but what you do is just like fuzzy logic, for instance. You provide the service to those that don't understand that technology. Do you know what I mean? Like no one's ever going to compete with Amazon now. Like, I'll be very surprised in the next 30 or 40 years there'll be someone who's actually trying to compete with Amazon at that level, because it's just you can't. They've exceeded that point. A bit like Elon Musk. Like, he's basically spending all of his profits trying to reach Mars, and like, there's no fucking point, is it? But he's got so much money. Why not? Theoretically, like, I understand
Well,
he's
this
doing
is
it
the thing.
for the world, but it's not really. Well, what are we going to benefit from it? I don't know.
You got two of the wealthiest people. Well, the two wealthiest people on the planet. Like they are. I suppose the phrase is Midas touched. Anything they do at this point will earn them money, regardless. So Elon Musk, for
Yeah.
example, he will be earning money more. He'll be earning more money on the publicity he is getting for Tesla for his Mars mission. Which it's madness to say that, but I guarantee that will be
Well,
part of it.
have you read about or heard about what he's done recently, Elon?
No, go on.
So he has. It was last week. He's the first person to implant a chip in someone's brain.
Right.
Yeah. So they've called it. What do they call it? Where have I got it here now? Neuralink, right? So basically, what he's trying to achieve is telepathic controls
Yeah.
on technology. So
Yeah.
you are synchronized in with the technology around you. So, like, for instance, you wouldn't have to use your fingers to text someone. You could just think it. So yeah, I can
That's
just think,
really
like,
difficult.
I can just think, text my wife, I'm at home, X, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, to be fair,
Yeah.
I use Siri a lot when I'm texting because I'm so lazy. But now people haven't even got to talk.
Yeah.
People haven't even got to talk. They could just think it and it's done.
That, I mean, we're
You're
talking hundreds
speechless.
of years. I would say we're talking hundreds of years in the future, but
It's possible.
this could be the next stage in like human evolution, essentially. Because, like you said there, you don't even have to talk. Now, just imagine rather than that signal going to your phone, it's a satellite uplink, which then links directly through to the other person. The phone is removed. Well, suddenly you've got telepathy. You're speaking directly to a person where actually having to use your voice box.
Yeah, it's still reliant on technology, but yeah.
100%. But yeah, we're becoming cyborgs.
We are, but at the same time, it's like my concern and is the fact that we're never going to achieve. We're not going to achieve this level of intelligence because of global warming. I think global warming is going to hit our planet before we can really reach the full potential of technology. Wow, that's such a dark thought. I'm just just heard that in my head.
I'm not
What is this
sure I
episode
agree.
about? This has got real
It's
dark.
just varied, isn't it? I mean, the ozone layer has actually started to repair itself and has repaired itself to a considerable margin just through CO2 emissions that we've managed to reduce so far already since like in the last 10 years.
Where have you heard this? I don't believe anything anymore. I won't lie.
No, this is, I can't remember where I heard this. So
I just try and do my bit.
Again, the scientist in me is like, I have a valid source. I can find one for the next podcast. But yeah, I did read that fairly recently. Again, know your source, so don't take that as gospel. There's another religious term. Jesus. And another one. Stop me.
Oh, mate. But question for you, right? And you got to try and answer this in a sentence.
Okay. How long can a sentence be?
I don't know. Does technology make us less intelligent? Wow, it's gone quite quick, isn't it? That.
As a species, yes.
Okay.
I'll elaborate. Technology for a small minority of people, as in the people that really understand the ins and outs of how that works, why that works, and are actively developing the technology.
No.
Yes, it's making those people smarter because they are actively working to develop technology. For the majority of people, as much as there's a huge array of information available to people, the vast majority of people will read it. They don't digest it. They don't interpret it. They don't utilize that information. Now, that's intelligence. So anyone who can read out of a book, right? You can get a computer to read out a line, AI reading for essentially. That doesn't mean that it understands it. That's not intelligence. Intelligence is the interpretation of information.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people nowadays, like I don't know when my kid's gonna be at school. Is he still gonna be learning how to handwrite? Do you remember having to handwrite stuff in the lines? Like really, no one's fucking
Yeah.
handwriting shit anymore. Like you just type
Well,
it and then it spell checks it for you. But again, as you said, that's not intelligent. Like your IQ is not based on how you can handwrite. Your IQ is not based on any of that.
yeah.
It's just it's your common sense theoretically. It says how you think.
I think if technology is correctly used to enhance intelligence as a tool, so I think a really valid part of intelligence is logical reasoning. Um, if you get a really intelligent person and try and explain a complicated idea to them, a very intelligent person will break that down into terms that they understand relatively
Yeah,
based on their experiences, and then that's how they'll understand it. The amount of time that takes will largely determine how intelligent that person is. It's a similar thing. So Alex Hormozy again did a post on this. If I slap you in the face, you go, "Ow, that hurts," and you stand there, let me slap you in the face again. How many slaps does it take for you to relate me lifting my hand and coming across to that slap? Essentially, well,
yeah,
intelligence is realizing that after one, okay, I'm not going to stand here. I'm going to move away from this, or I'm going to duck. Right? Well, take that same information input and apply that to your life. So people want to improve, I don't know, their writing ability, or they want to. Well, you need to understand the information input and change something, because if you're constantly doing the same thing, you're not improving, you're not getting more intelligent. You know. So if you
yeah.
can utilize technology to do that, great, you're getting more intelligent. But the vast majority aren't. Like I was saying with the website idea, most people just go, I want to know an answer to this. They get the answer, and that's it. They're not digesting that information, not retaining it, and they're certainly not understanding
Yeah.
why
Well, that's
that
what
is.
AI would definitely. AI would produce that. There will definitely be an AI version of Google where you're
Hmm.
just searching, or even the Echo, for instance. You'll just say, "Right, Echo, what is this?" And it's using AI to answer you based on all the information in the internet. But then, if all the
Hmm.
information in the internet, if most of the majority of it is incorrect, then it's going to give you an incorrect answer, isn't it?
Exactly that. I know a lot of AI is only up to date up to a certain point once the AI is created. At least it used to be that way. That it's never live, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but then it will evolve and it will have its own common sense and it'll have its own. I don't know. It's kind of scary. AI does scare me a
It's
bit. I won't lie.
it's dangerous to an extent as well. I don't really like going into politics, but the amount of misinformation that's available, for example, with Brexit, and that was before the time of AI was really becoming a thing. Well, if you were to manipulate what is available on the internet, which is relatively easily done, and people are so reliant on AI to give them answers, well, suddenly you can rig elections, you can control a large amount of information, and tech
Mm.
companies are becoming more and more powerful in that regard.
Yeah, it is scary. We're very reliant
Mm.
on those sort of tech companies to provide that security.
100%. I mean, even down to just a basic level, if a tech company were to hold, so even down to like policing, for example, that relies on encrypted radio essentially. Well, suddenly, if you get ownership of that encryption, you can control. I think it gets a bit dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. You could probably control nukes. Anyway,
Hmm.
that's another dark thought of mine. um, anything else on your list that you wanted to share in the podcast?
No, I mean mine's mostly been moaning about people who don't know what they're talking about. That's largely what I
Yeah.
spend my day talking about. To be honest with you,
Which is probably me, to be fair. I think at the end of the
that's
day, at some point, you have to fake it till you make it, right? And a lot of stuff that you say can be, but it's not really your fault. Like if people choose to believe you, then it's on them. It's like
hmm
everyone has free speech, and a lot of stuff is a theory, as you said. A lot of stuff is an opinion, whether they want to follow through with that opinion or not. Like there's so many services out there that are just so similar, um, and they'll take different approaches based on what they believe is factual, rather than do you know what I mean? You just gotta find the business where people believe your side of it and
Yep,
believe that
it's
you are
exactly that.
the best one.
And again, I've said it before many times. It's that bullshit filter. No matter what area you're looking at getting involved in, whether that's business or something personal, you're looking to
Mm.
hire a service, whatever else, you need to research a little bit, have a basic understanding, so that if someone's trying to sell you crap, you can understand that and go, no, thank you, I'll find someone else. And you can
Yeah.
apply that to anything.
That's what insurance is for at the end of the day. If you're not seeing results, you could sue them. That's literally it. I saw a debate, but I was going to end it on this little debate. You probably heard of it. It was a thing about in 2012. It's called the immortal snail. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about this.
So you know what I'm on about. I've only literally heard about it the other day. But theoretically, right, so it's just a debate. That's all it is. It's just a debate. Mm-hmm. But think of it logically, right? So if some guy offers you £10 million right here, right now, but the catch is a snail will follow you for the rest of your life, and if it touches you, you're dead instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Would you accept that? Or would you just go, fuck that, I'll move on, thanks?
I don't think 10 million would be enough.
Why is that? Is it because of the anxiety constantly of there's a snail chasing
I think so. I think your mindset will really change. And also, yes, 10 million is quite a lot of money, but it's not outside the realms of what you can earn in a lifetime anyway, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You'd have to really dedicate your life to actually actively earning that amount of money. But then equally...
Yeah, but you could turn that money into more money.
What level of happiness... let's say you get 2 million in the bank. Are you going to be more happy with 10 million? Probably not.
But could you not, like everyone? So I saw these theories. So I only heard about this week, and I just kind of ended up in like a black hole of fucking snail debates on TikTok. Anyway, like there's this one guy who goes, right, so if you were to move to Australia, because of the speed of the snail, it would take him or her, obviously, I'm not going to be sexist against snails, 40 years it would take them to get to you in Australia if it was obviously in the UK.
Yep.
Now, that's quite sustainable, surely. So after 30 years, for instance, you just move back to the UK, right? And just take it, like, just live your life a bit. I feel like, but then, are you going to sleep? That's the big one. Like, you're going to have this anxiety over you of, right, what if someone's found the snail and then put it on a boat and then, you know what I mean? Like, what if the snail ended up on a boat? Like, yeah.
It's completely.
Why can't you just use your money, stick that fucking snail on a fucking box? You know what I mean?
Well, like, I mean, if you were to go up towards the 100 million, basically, I'm getting someone to strap that thing to a rocket. It's going up into space. You're not moving, right? Yeah, okay. You're floating about.
Surely that's fine.
Yeah, like if you were going down the route of 100 million, I'm sure you can get a decent enough rocket for like $50 million or whatever it is. That's going up into space. That's job done. But 10 million, it's not worth the egg.
And there's no way a snail is gonna. Can a snail swim?
Well, it's immortal, so it's in theory just floating. It's like sinking to the bottom and just
is immortal.
Crawling? Does a snail?
Could you not just stick it in a bulletproof case and then you're sorted?
Yeah, but it's the same situation of what if someone opens that and all this kind of stuff. If you're going into space, I'll take my chances. You know, if someone's willing to go into space to retrieve an immortal snail, fair enough.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be constant. Even if it's on Mars, you're going to be wanting, I want a webcam to that. I also make sure that snail is there. And you'll just be checking it like once or twice a day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it worth 10 mil? Probably not. Not to me.
Although I feel like you'd be really paranoid of every other snail on the planet. You'd never go outside again.
You would be scared of snails.
If, for example, I knew you made this deal, I would fuck with you. I'd walk about with a snail just to wind you up.
You would, because obviously this guy's just been given 10 mil. You'd be a bit jealous. You'd be, you would fuck around with him, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's not even that. I just find it funny.
You're just cool, mate. Yeah. No wonder why you're not religious.
I'd probably send you a picture daily. It's like, here's my snail.
The snail. Yeah. Yummy. Anyway, we'll end it there, shall we?
Yeah, I think that's it. We've done it sub 1 hour. I think that's the first. Yeah.
Depending on how long the outro is going to be.
Well.
Next one on Friday?
Yes. Yeah, we'll be back to normal scheduling, I would say.
Happy days. We definitely have a guest the following week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get a hold of a psychic. I'm trying to get hold of a psychic. It would be good. Like, we've had a little bit of a mini debate episode this episode. It would be good to try and persuade someone on factual evidence.
Not psychic.
Yeah, or even if it's like, or someone who believes the Earth's flat, or someone who truly believes something that's false. Like, do you know what I mean? It would be good to get them on the podcast just to see why and how that's happened. Do you not think?
Yeah, I mean, if I can have enough notice, like if you were to go down the route of like a flat earther, for example, I will do the research ahead of time. I'll put together a portfolio to say, well, this is how we knew 700 years ago that the Earth is in fact not flat by basic observation of stars, geometry, and the solar system.
I saw one. There was one on this morning a couple of years ago, and I watched that. And he would always push back, a bit like a politician. He would always push back and like, yeah, but like 20 years ago they thought this, and they just discovered this. So what's stopping them from also discovering that the Earth's flat? They're constantly pushing back, constantly. It's quite funny to watch, but then it does also try to keep your mind open with actually like he like it's right. Like science is constantly, what's the word? Dictating itself. Like, you know what I mean? It's constantly correcting itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like science today could be 50% wrong.
But in this situation, science would adjust itself if we thought that the Earth was more of, a flat sphere. And actually, no, it's actually perfectly spherical. That would be the level of adjustment. And so the first thing I can say to Mr. Flat Earther is, well, you have a phone. Your phone works based on geostationary orbits, satellites in orbit, right? So geostationary means that a satellite will sit relatively above the same point above the Earth, kept in gravity, just rotating around the Earth, right? Because it's a sphere. And it's the same thing where you can go up on these flights with SpaceX, or I think it was Elon Musk's, where you fly up. You fly up into space. You stay relatively above the Earth. The Earth turns, and you can see the Earth turning below you. We've also got the space station as well. People have jumped from space, and you can very clearly see it is a disc.
Yeah. Did you watch that?
Right.
That Red Bull stuntman jumping from space.
Yeah.
That is mental.
Mad. That's insane.
That was mental. Anyway, we'll end it there. Right. Yeah, so we'll try and get an episode. We'll try and get guests next week. If not, we've definitely got a guest week after. And we'll see you next week. If there's anything that you guys want us to try and debate on, otherwise, let us know. It would be quite funny. Because I think Mike and I do have some similar sort of thoughts and views, but I think we probably could
start some controversy. We need some people that are going to argue against us, and for us to tell them
it's better to not have hair than have hair. I think.
I probably agree with you.
Do you know what happened this morning? Just to quickly end this on. So 3 times a week for the last 5 years, I have bicked my head. I don't use a bick, but you know what I mean. Like, I raise my head so it's flat, so it's like a baby's bottom, right? 3 times a week for the last 5 years, never been an issue. This morning, raising my head, I probably took off half my fucking head. You can probably see a plaster. Wait. Can you see? Yeah.
Oh.
I've got a plaster. I literally took off half my fucking head this morning. It was like something out of Carrie. Like there was blood everywhere. It felt like I was in the lift of The Shining. I was like, Becca, I need a plaster now. I don't know what happened.
Jesus, dude.
I don't know what the fuck happened.
Do you have? Sorry, this is going on. We've got like a minute and a half. Is it like a razor, like you would traditionally shave your?
Yeah, Gillette. It's just a Gillette.
But you can get skull shavers where something goes through your fingers here and you hold onto it like this. That might be a better.
Yeah, I did buy one about 5 years ago. It wasn't really like great, but I think I'm going to end up going back to that to avoid it happening again
for safety reasons.
Yeah, I could feel I could feel it coming off as well. And when Becca put when Becca put the plaster on, she thought it was a bit of tissue, so she pulled it, but actually it was my skin. I know.
Oh, you've peeled.
Anyway, a nice Sunday thought. I like to end these podcasts on something to really imagine. Anyway, have a good week, guys. If you thought this episode was funny or if you found it entertaining, please share it with your friends and family. It's a family podcast.
The title for this video this podcast needs to be I accidentally peeled myself.
like an orange. Yeah,
Jesus.
okay, that's the name of the podcast. It will take them 59 minutes to realise why it's called that. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wait to the end to hear why.
It'll get them listening, will it? Well, they'll just skip to the end, won't they? No, we won't say that. Right. But yeah, please give us a follow on Instagram. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.